Leave it. It feels like it's gone by so quickly. A lot of intense chicken dinners today. A lot of up-and-coming squads that felt like they would be down in the dumps. Now starting to ascend through the rankings. Home turf for a few of our big names here then as we move into the first of two Miramars to close out the day in the third day of play for Group Green. Let's see what we've got in store for us.
I mean, already you can see Loops dominating over here on Miramar with Mythic comfortably sat in the top 4 elimination bracket in first place, really hitting some good shots. But you know what? Duello has been showing up in these stats a lot all day today from Reject, who have done a good job, keep themselves in the running, not quite able to overtake Alpha 7 as of yet, but there's still 2 matches to go. Maybe they can do it here. We'll have to wait and see. Average damage on Miramar, 705.
Mate.
Top, what are you doing?
That's unbelievable.
Astounding.
God, even that, right? Having the average damage of 2 players on Loops maintaining 500, that's pretty sick. But the fact that you have one man who, by the way, I'm pretty sure the highest damage game we saw from Tops was like, what, 2.2, 2.3k, something like that?
Yeah.
It was pretty outrageous. For his average to be that high, that's insanity.
Yeah, because he's just rolling it through, right? That's the main thing. He's keeping on rolling with that damage. And I mean, 2k damage overall, that's sort of like a team's worth just on one side. You got Aegon I8 right now taking a couple of pot shots over towards Procedure Evos, who do want to keep pumping these numbers. Another team probably with a potential of getting up towards that top 3. However, it's Reject to take a knock right off the bat here.
Reject. Has their luck run out? They've had such a good day of it. Really been farming the points today. Vocalized by the fact you can see them being hard locked in 4th place. With a good distance of points between them and 5th as well. Not the best start though. Trying to detonate the vehicle in front of him as well, but you know that he's probably as good as cooked at this point. Not much of a path for his teammates to rotate in and somehow find a way to save him. So it will just be a matter of time before he expires. Levi's trying to make that a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of his team aren't really even anywhere near to him. I think Luther's got a vehicle, but highly unlikely at this point in time. He's bleeding out, and probably one of the players you really did not want to go down early for, Reject, considering Duello's doing the majority of the work on that team. At least he forces the boys from DX to take out one of their own vehicles in the area. Not likely to cause too much of a sensational hit for the rest of the team. Frozen drops out a little bit too late over towards that western side, ends up falling down the hill. Procedure Evos gets a bit of revenge over towards Aegon I8, who were taking some shots over towards them earlier. And that's a good start for them. 2 eliminations so far for this squad.
Nice way to get the blood pumping. Coming into your first of 2 Miramars here. Mad Balls on the move as well, going for the grab on Frozen. Just at the last second there, his wick was nearly burnt all the way down, but he will be saved and brought back into the fight.
Pretty necessary for Mad Balls as well. I mean, after what was almost a gifted match on that last one on our angle, and they just lose it out to a push coming through from Alter Ego, that felt like one where they could have taken it all away. Remember, Alter Ego getting a 2nd place from the position that Mad Balls held. If they'd held on for a little bit longer, perhaps things would have been a little bit different there for them. Maybe they were able to get themselves a 2nd place. Unlikely they would win against Loops. Let's be real with it, Jackie. They are just absolutely killing it today over on the point scoring potential as well as the team fights coming through. Know exactly what they wanted to make happen. And I think as soon as I saw Mythic with the MG3 in hand and Chief start to edge his way up the hill, I was like, I think it's over. I think this might just be a Loops win coming out of it. But they're obviously over towards Hacienda del Patron, but they make a quick movement down towards that south side. They've already got a double anchor in place with Chief as well as Mythic, so the rest of the team can move over towards them. They want to take control of all these matches so far today, which is great to see. Reject do lose that player in the end. We saw that earlier on, so 3 players going ahead with it. See if they can get some more elimination points. See if Alpha 7 can try and extend that lead between them in 3rd place.
Alpha 7. petering off a tiny bit in some of these games, not being able to throw it just as far as it feels like they had done in the past in terms of some of the scraps. Very unlucky, it feels like, in the past 2 games at least as well, where they have sort of had themselves thrown to the wayside on some unlucky placements of a few nades, or the peaks just not quite going their way. But for the score they've accumulated, you're 40 points behind, besting Stalwart now. So if you want to move on up to top 2, there's still room to breathe. Game plan though, of course, maintain control of the upper echelons. Maintain your spot here in the top 3 and do not get lapped by Reject Tokyo. And they might take it into their own hands a bit more literally. Being able to find Lufa here as they pull up to the party, diving out the vehicles instantly and getting the reloads in, ready for the commotion versus Reject. Lufa, he's aware of the situation, looking in the distance, pin-pulled as well. 5 nades in the back pocket, but the spam from the sideline draws his attention. He overextends, takes a bullet to the face and drops to his knees on that one. Sanab trades him for good with the shotty up close. OCO got an understanding of where exactly they are. But with Reject already down to just 2 players, how do you approach this? Double tap in the back seems to be the opener.
I mean, that is the best news for Alpha 7, and what a great targeted push over towards one of the landing zones for Reject Tokyo, especially the fact that they'd already lost a player as well. This just makes life even more difficult for them. So for Alpha 7, they not only profit on a point there, they also really do leave Reject down in the dumps now, looking very bad here. So great start for Alpha 7 in the sense that Reject probably the closest with the best chance at the moment to overtake them in terms of point scoring, and this is just going to secure their 3rd place for a little bit longer. Now they're more focused on getting a few more eliminations on this match, maybe getting a high placing, really taking off in terms of speed and height towards the top of this leaderboard. Really, really good play. I enjoyed that a lot from Alpha 7, taking the game into a bit more of a curious angle, in which case we're targeting Team now, trying to keep them down.
Those mind games, and understanding that you physically can take it into your own hands to deny potential point gain for some of these teams now is really interesting. It's going to be so cool to see how they play it going into tomorrow as well, being the last day for the group, where you'll really be sealing your fate. And the difference of a team deciding whether or not you make it to the survival stage, you make it towards those upper echelons, is something that you do not want to allow someone else to decide. You want to be the one to forge your own destiny and make those points right here, right now. Squad slowly on the move as well, getting themselves back in towards the zone and setting up for the 2nd stage. Mabul's playing a little bit slower on this one. We'll see how this changes, because something that's a little bit different already here from Stalwart is that they've been playing Edge very consistently, going for very late rotates over the course of the day. It's not what they were doing over the first 2 days. It's been a bit of a change of game plan for them, where it seems like they're almost focusing on survivability into the late game rather than playing for elimination points. Whereas here, you're already center stage. You're in the circle feeling confident, and the boon to that is also that they like Miramar. So this should be a good opportunity for them to maybe command some more respect, see if they can clap back, because keep in mind, it's not that much of a gap between them and 1st place at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a question, because the prize pool in terms of the amount of money you jump up from 2nd to 1st place, it's not a huge amount. So it might be a case that Stalwart is in fact just taking these final games where they know that they've 100% qualified to get a bit more practice on playing that edge play style, because that is probably the most difficult thing to do in a PMGC environment where every single team is difficult. There's no feeder teams to just barrel your way through on that edge side, and this is going to be very important for them to get this practice in versus some of the best teams in the world before heading towards the grand finals. Obviously, that is just a theory at the end of the day, but they are trying to get inwards with these more difficult rotations, where I think we have seen them barrel it towards the center a few more times. Losing a player right off the back, though, that seems to be a regular reoccurrence for Stalwart 2, which is going to set them back even more, making that 1st place spot very, very far away.
Bit of a slower scrap going down on our screens here as well. In terms of the spacing, you've got a lot of fights that could erupt all over the battleground at this point. Ooh, wanting to finish their meal as well. Alpha 7 instigated a firefight versus Rejects earlier on, and now they found the scraps and wiped them out, Blank. That's a targeted attack that pays off massively. Alpha 7 with all 4 players still alive, whereas Rejects will not be accruing any points for their efforts here.
Yeah, it's a smart play when you're super confident in your gun skill as well to target a team like that, because now for Alpha 7, any points that they get on this game is basically profit for them. They're not too worried about Procedure Evos right now with 98 points. They're fairly far away from them in terms of actually being able to score upwards. So Reject really is the main worry at the moment. So you take them out straight away. Alpha 7 now feels super comfortable. There's not a lot of stress on them right now. There's not a lot of pressure on this match of Miramar just to play it out and see how good they can do, see how many more points that they can accrue on this match and pull away from Reject, who look at the side of the road, tires slashed.
Stop dead in their tracks. Forced to try and take a bit of a slower approach on this one and build back into it. Look at the lay of the land here, man. Loops close by to Bra eSports that are actually a little bit fragmented, with a bit of a point man in Coursera playing far further ahead of the pack, as he's all the way down towards the tree line here, just using the vehicle as a little bit of cover. So he's potentially in a location to try and backstab onto Loops if the attention is drawn. Meanwhile, Stalwart again sending in Icy as the early confidence man, the man that draws all the eyes from all the other squads. He takes bullets but survives. Repeak from Icy's clean though. Kiss you, if you're gonna mess with Icy, you better take him down. You give him a chance to repeak and he will rip you to pieces.
Yeah, it's a great little shot there, and it's very difficult to kiss you back up into action. In the meantime, Gladiators hear a lot of that commotion. They make their push through, and luckily for them, Icy has already dealt with the main target in play. So they take a couple of pot shots here. The vehicles don't take too much damage. They're able to just rotate through towards La Bandita. And looking at the lay of the land, like you say, it's a bit of an awkward circle in of itself. You've got La Bandita in play, the crater itself, which does cut off a lot of sight lines over towards that west and eastern side. You also got Minas Generalis in play, so there's potential at an urban finish on that northern side. It's all requiring you to grab a lot of this information early on, and Gladiators currently are looking over towards Procedure Evos, who have settled themselves direct center towards La Bandita. In comes Matic. This is dangerous.
Oh, Tixie sprinting through the building, bullets battering off of the door as well. Zuxi with the utility dashes the Molotov to try and close the gap. Meanwhile, Watic, he is running in the back line. He's trying to keep his head down. Has nades to work with as well. Forced out because of the util that Luxy threw his way. Buying time for his teammates on the rotate, so at least he has some backup here. The boys from Gladiators arriving now because they need to help out their mans. Matic is all on his lonesome. Down towards the close wall. Nades going into the upper floor of the building. Link backs off from it. Trying to double back and get into a bit of a better spot here. At least resolving the initial conflict for now. They can slow it down. Wait for a mistake to be made. Wait for someone to peek into this. The nades again reinstigate it. Coursera seems to having a bit of a nightmare as well for Bra eSports. And this is looking risky. Meanwhile, flicking over to the POV of DX. It's Parajin that strikes against Zia as Shopper. He's being cut to pieces.
Yeah, DX are just not accrued as many points as they might like today. They're still doing fairly decently in terms of getting some here and there, which is nice to see. But I think DX would have loved to have got towards that position where they could strike out towards that top spot of the lobby at the end of the day. Really, right now, there is just only one position over towards that top side. One left remaining ticket to secure your invite, and that is third place that a lot of teams are just battling their way in for. Great shots going through over towards Zuxi as he's forced to back off here as Gladiators try and control and maintain more and more ground. In the meantime, Zuxi's actually gone down, so a good first initial pickoff for the Gladiators. They try to maintain more and more control. Kitsune with the nade kind of spots that they're going to try and pick Luxy up here, and there's potential to grab a second knock off the back of this.
Sat behind the driving seat and on the move. Zia waiting for the contact here. Megamind, his grey gears are turning. Seems like he has an understanding of how he wants to approach this one. Few bullets spammed into the back seats of A8 vehicles. They're going to go for the wide swing around. They see the players in the distance, but they're just thinking about circle right now, trying to get themselves into a safe haven, a location where you've actually got some cover and can calm down a little bit. Play for the longevity on this one. Bumpy roads, but they arrive where they want to be. Can jump into the compound and start to let their heart rate settle a little bit. Popping the meds for now and resetting from this.
You got a bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu going off in the distance as well between A7 and Loops, as A7 look to have put Loops in a bit of a headlock right now. Only one player remaining from that team, which is Cardozin, off towards that western side. So not only do they take out the chasers behind them in reject, but they're also looking to chase up towards that second spot too, it seems, as Loops is getting further and further down. 162 points. I mean, it's doable tomorrow to overtake Stalwart potentially, but they also don't want to let first place get too far away either. This is overall really cool gameplay from all the squads here on the maps, particularly A7, who have definitely felt the need for speed at the end of the day here on Miramar. Malise taking shots over towards Mad Bulls, coming in from the backside, but a nice little spray down will take down at least one of them out the vehicle.
Bullets being spammed into the back here. Malise right in the faces. And Mad Bulls can't handle it. It seems like they've been overwhelmed. Frozen looking to line up the nade through the window as well. Has a great understanding of how to arc this one. Looks like it had a bit of a bounce, but it will still land on target, connecting onto Kisyu and taking him out of commission. So Mad Bulls looking like they were losing their grip on this one, but they grab it straight back and pull themselves into the forefront. Meanwhile, the clash continues for DX. Chow throwing nades out the window, trying to smoke himself, but set ablaze by the Molotov. Doubles back and looks for a secondary angle to try and peek this one. That's Earths drawing all the attention. Meanwhile, Megamind and Shopper are down the bottom of the gulch, jumping in the vehicle to have some speed to play with.
Trying to get further up here. This is towards La Bandita, and it's a huge amount of teams all locked in this area right now, Jackie, towards the south side. Who have to breach over towards the northern edge. Right now, Gladiators have got a huge amount of control. They weren't able to finish off Luxie here, but the way they've set themselves up, they've got a nice cross along that northern edge, which means Pasija Evos is likely going to be the first to face it. Not only that, they're one of the only teams on this south side that's still in the circle. A really good opportunity for Gladiators to pick up a lot of points, but do they have the gusto in them to do it? Do they have the determination to pull this one out the bag? I have questions, Jackie. I have worries. We'll see what happens in the future.
We don't have a crystal ball that could give us a good answer on this one because it's such fine margins. So many little things that are painting this big picture right now. Slowly but surely, squads moving forward. Numbers starting to dwindle across the board. Teams beginning to thin. Falcons up on the angle here, putting bullets towards the X. Looking to lay claim to a couple of eliminations. Meanwhile, Frozen, he's been struck and taken down by one of the Bra eSports boys, being able to get into their grill and look for aggression here. Big spread of teams. Alter Ego in the clash versus Malise take the first blow. Seems like Gladiators as well, trading name for name as they go down right in the back of the plane, fighting towards Evos. Evos, you've got high ground with this. Utility either side as well. Matic backing off. Falcon still scrapping above them, looking for a peek through the window, back exposed, couple of bullets connect onto Luxie, but still not enough to make them swing into it. They're still waiting for that moment when they feel fully confident to engage. And meanwhile, Zaxi looking for the reposition as well.
This is what I'm talking about too, though, with the fact that Pasija Evos will be the first to face any team starting to breach across on that south side of La Bandita, as A7 actually has moved in, taking a shot over towards Pasija Evos, took one of their players down. DX, like you're saying, still battling off versus Falcons, hitting some lovely shots over towards them as they try and manage the push through the blue, but it's just not happening so far. The battle back has been good, but it's only one player down for Falcons. Chua comes through with the DBS. isn't able to handle it. Just Parajin now left remaining, exploded, and Falcons can move on with all 4 players still remaining. Stalwart keeping things happy over towards this northern side. They've got Alter Ego surrounding them, but they can live this one out a little bit longer.
Slow and steady wins the race in a position like this, where a single misstep can cost you so much in terms of your tournament lives. Right, eSports, just lurking, waiting, listening for an opportunity to try and make the move. Nice nade, knocks the aim of Alpha 7, but it's too little too late for Topsic. He can't actually make the distance, has to suffer and go down to the play zone, giving up the potential there. So he's removed from the equation. Alpha 7, they're going to be happy to reset. All 4 still alive. You can build from this. It's a 9 elimination game. They're gunning to try and stay within this top 3, within this upper echelons, and potentially push even further. If they've already found 9, how many frags can they get before this one ends? Stage 6 coming up as the zone's going to get even tighter. Less room to breathe, more room for error.
Right on top of Tiambra as well, holding a strong position in this compound towards the middle side of Minas Generalis. Everyone's going to have to push towards them on what is pretty open zone. A lot of these teams at Labandita Crater will have to battle this one out because there is potential just to play that lip up towards the northern side. A7 might even be thinking about it themselves. So one of these teams is going to find themselves a decent position off the back of Labandita. But who will win out? Falcons, who got here late, haven't really joined the party. Gladiators weren't able to shut down the boys from Procedure Evo, so they've got away with all 4 players, and it was a real stalemate in this position. The main thing is they have survived this. Alpha 7 take down Tulika and the rest of the Mad Bulls, now up to 11 eliminations, further extending that lead. They teased Reject with a 4-point gap, and Reject was not able to catch up, were not able to grasp out and pull themselves further, and now A7, they're just going to leave them in the dust.
Talking of being dusted, that seems to be what's happening for Evos, being dusted with a fine peppering of bullets, replying straight back though, as Sanab will be struck down. Alter Ego also finding the backdoor approach, so they strike onto Alpha 7 whilst their attention is drawn the way of Evos, meaning they've bitten off a little bit more than they can chew here. Rosemary as well. Oh, these are some crisp shots, Blank.
Yeah, killer with that SLR there, getting a lot of work done alongside it. Some decent headshots. And A7, currently in the circle though, and it's Procedure Evos that have to chase. Look at this though, Falcons got such a good read over towards Gladiators. Both teams will have to move at the same time, and it's all up to who hits the shots first. If you can send them back with a barrage of bullets, get a lot of damage done, it'll be good for you. But Rosemary still popping off. This is where it gets tricky. You have to push out from the blue. 2 go down already. There is at least 1 frag over towards Falcons, but it's just not enough as Gladiators left this way too long.
They look slow, they look sluggish. They were confident at the start, but the longer the game went on, the more they turtled, the more they played defense. And right now, it's a tenacious offense that's hitting them as Falcons hold from the top of the hill. Bullet after bullet, they get left feeling ill as Evos aggress onto them. And it seems like the Gladiators' run in the arena is ended short. No one is going to be happy with that finish. It felt like there was a chance that they could project themselves a bit further today, but short endings here. Aggression coming out from Zuxi. Up close with the shot, he takes the blow towards Alter Ego, and silence is won. Zuxi as well found time to go for the heal. Wants to try and play off his teammates. So many down players on either side all around. His decision making has to be smart here. Prioritizes the fight onto Rosemary in the distance. Needs to keep himself out of trouble though. If he goes down, it'll all be wiped off the face of the game. Instead, looks for the Reds, can play off his teammates, then go for the knocks.
Yeah, massive split coming through from Alter Ego. And you wonder how much of a throw this kind of is from that team. They let 2 players stay up. Vegeta Evos is just going to take down both of them as Luxy sprinted over towards his brother earlier on. Misery might be a pickup as well for them, get them back into the game. Tiamba, though, still have maintained this compound for so long. Very hard to breach. We'll see if Tiamba can pull this one through, see if they can get themselves their first chicken dinner of this tournament. It would be nice to see.
The duo win at this point. They've been fighting so hard, but you got to get it over the finish line. That's what it's all about. For Alter Ego, a misplay that might cost them gravely. Fragmenting so hard into a 2-2 setup. Didn't work out well. What can they do with the duo that remains? Ooh, close quarters combat for Quest. They're sprung upon as Falcons pull up to the party and look to do something nasty. The weapons finding damage all across the board. Rosemary replying back though onto 6 from a distance. Still trying to at the very least secure elimination points, even if placement is now going to be far harder for them. They've got 7 in total at the minute, being bested only by Evos with 8 in their total tally.
Yeah, I mean, for Falcons, they just bash directly in towards Quest there. Octa likely to go down. You're right, though. They're just trying to pick up as many points as possible from that high ground positioning they had. Alter Ego up to 8 elims now with a top 7 at least, but not ideal. They'd rather have got into that top 5 there. So many teams finding these survival positions, and it really is Pasija Evos, that position I talked about earlier, right on the lip of La Bandita. Gives you a lot of control over this area. Unfortunately, does not stay over towards that position, moves further over towards Tiamba, and now Pasija Evos, they need to clear out as much area as possible if they're ever going to hope to get down this hill and off this horrible bank. Rosemary gets picked off, and that's Alter Ego out with 8 eliminations. Tiamba, this is a play that's very much in their wheelhouse, right? They've done this over towards their region. Let's see if they can pull it off here. Lovely Molly comes through, and you know what? Pasija Evos might just have made it. A huge amount of damage is barreled their way, though. Can they survive this with 3? It will be a monumental effort if they can.
If they can weather the storm here and survive, that could be the clinical factor. But Luxy expires. Too low on HP to keep himself in it. The longevity not there for him. But we do draw into the final 4. Stalwart with a solo king looking to deal some damage. But you're talking of damage, and that's coming straight out from Zuxi, forcing them up towards an 11 elimination total at the minute as he just slays Falcons in seconds, putting them down in the ground. Absolute insanity now. Surely all attention has to be turned to Tiamba, the only squad with 4 players alive. Evos and Stalwart would basically have to play together here to fin the herd. Who's going to get that second place out of these 2? That's got to be the big question. But Tiamba, they're gunning for their chicken dinner.
I mean, it's the freest chicken dinner they've ever got, right? They didn't pay a dime for this bad boy. Stalwart, though, I think we have to mention them somewhat because, again, they're towards this top 5, never leaving it for loops despite getting some insane performances game to game. Stalwart are never outside of these top placements, and it makes it difficult to profit over them. So, even though they got ahead, looks like Stalwart Icy might just be looking for himself a second place as he looks to remove the other team that is in contention. Some nice shots from him, trying to lock it down, but the blue will push him in. Can only step up for a second, wants to secure it here and now, able to take out Zuxi. Is it too late though? I think it is.
Expires to the zone. Had full confidence in himself and fair play. It's the only option you had. Take it into your own hands and try and guarantee the second place, but unable to survive the damage from the blue. Unable to get both of the frags he needed. Leaves it all on Misery that right now is probably going through an absolute misery as he will lose that one. Gives up the goods to Tiamba as they secure it and take a chicken dinner. Like you said, an absolute freebie blank. Just